the Honorable Donald John Trump.
Today, we will witness the peaceful transfer of power at the heart of our democracy.
The wind is blowing like crazy, and with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away.
I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
The golden age of America begins right now.
It was the most inspiring speech she's ever given that I've personally ever heard.
I was saved by God to make America great again.
It was one of the least impressive, least visionary speeches.
There are only two genders, male and female. We will pursue our manifest destiny to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
He pledged to be a president of peace and to not start any new wars.
China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China.
But did also pledge to forcibly take another country's territory.
We're taking it back. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders.
This is what victory feels like.
We will begin the complete restoration of America.
Thank you.
Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so.
He hasn't held back today in words or action. Trump is announcing pardons for January 6th defendants.
We're huge supporters of Trump.
The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty.
Please don't on my press.
Protecting women from radical gender ideologies.
Ooh, what is this?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir.
Ooh, that's a big one. It's all about common sense. Bye-bye. I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all.
Welcome to the project, and it's a big one. We are live from the lands of the Cooler Nations tonight with Kate Lambrook.
Yeah. Wow.
Who better to be here today?
That was a big one.
It was,
wasn't it? There were so many things to watch, so many fascinating aspects.
Yeah, let's see how many of them we can unpack in the next few minutes, shall we? We're joined right now by journalist and author Nick Bryant, who's been covering Trump from the very start. Nick, big day. You heard it from Kate. Trump's address promised a golden age. What did you make of it?
Well, it wasn't quite as dark and dystopian as American Carnage. I was 50 yards away from Trump when he delivered his first inaugural, but it was pretty gloomy. But what struck me, Waleed, was to see Trump walk into the US Capitol, where on January the 6th, 4 years ago, his supporters ransacked and tried to overturn the election victory of Joe Biden, and to see him applauded by lawmakers who on January the 6th had to run for their lives. Now, Donald Trump could easily have ended up in prison because of his role on January the 6th. Instead, tonight, he is sleeping in the White House. And the other thing that struck me, Waleed, was this is what America voted for. This is what almost 50% of the US electorate, they clicked on the terms and conditions of Trump 2.0.
Crazy democracy, huh?
Yeah, well, you know, I think, Nick, that partly that they voted for Trump because he was awake and Biden had been sleeping inside and outside of the White House. Don't you?
Oh, look, within about 4 minutes of that presidential debate that he had with Donald Trump and Joe Biden, it became very clear that Joe Biden was not going to be able to survive 4 more years in the White House. He looked like he was almost embalmed when he walked on that debate stage, didn't he? So, yeah, no surprise that he had to stand aside.
You know what I found quite surprising, kind of shocking, was that the gathering of the tech titans, they had prime seats. I find that disturbing. What do you think is the significance of that?
Yeah, inaugurations are not just about people watching, they're about power watching. Where do people sit? How close are they to the president? And what was remarkable about that was these tech giants from Silicon Valley, people like Mark Zuckerberg, people like Jeff Bezos, the Amazon founder. They were actually sat in the inner sanctum. They were right next to the Trump family. They were actually in front of some of the most senior cabinet members that are coming in to the Trump administration. Now, in his farewell address, Joe Biden actually warned about a tech industrial complex. And he warned about an oligarchy with all this power and influence and wealth. And proof of it was right there at the inauguration. As you saw in that film there, you know, you saw Elon Musk afterwards cavorting around that Trump rally like it was a Silicon Valley tech launch. And then we saw that salute, which to many people looked like a fascist salute. And it's the worrying coming together of Trump's disruptive politics and their disruptive algorithms, especially in the age of artificial intelligence, that for many people is so worrying.
Hey, Nick, Donald Trump signed an unprecedented number of executive orders. What stuck out to you the most?
Well, there's a lot to choose on. Withdrew immediately America from the Paris Climate Change Accord, withdrew from the WHO, the World Health Organization. The one that struck me was the pardons, these 1,600 pardons to what he calls the J6 hostages, these insurrectionists who ransacked the Capitol trying to overturn the result of that election. And he's released from prison one of the leaders of the Proud Boys, one of America's most dangerous militia movements. You know, the Republican Party has always seen itself as a party of law and order. It didn't look like that today when Trump issued those pardons.
Strange then that Dr. Fauci got a preemptive pardon from President Biden. What crime did he commit?
Well, he hasn't committed any crimes, but the idea of a preemptive pardon is to protect him from prosecution if Donald Trump comes after his political enemies, as he warned repeatedly during the campaign that he would do. And he didn't only give a preemptive pardon to Anthony Fauci, who was the health chief during COVID. He did it to Liz Cheney, who was a Republican who was very critical of Trump for his role on January the 6th, and members of the Biden family as well. I've never seen a move by a president to protect his family from the fear that the next president will actually come after them.
Nick, thank you very much for your time.
Most impressive order of business, though, it's got to be the Diet Coke button.
Of course, you would say
being
this.
put into the Oval Office.
And
so
what is that?
It's literally a button that he presses, which then calls in people to bring him an icy cold
Why can't he
DC.
just have a fridge with DC in it like you have in
There's
your
no
office?
sense of occasion. There's no sense of, I wish I had a button.
If Sarah could write an executive order, that would be the one.
That would be it. Hey, there's a bit to unpack there, but we should probably start out with the salute that's kind of gone right around the world.
Elon Musk was...
Oh, there it is. There.
He was the most excited person in that room.
Did you? He's going, yeah, he's cheering.
Yeah, he was so amped.
Yeah.
I thought it was Hunter Biden.
What did you think? I mean, like, it's pretty split, actually. You've got, you know, the Anti-Defamation League in the States, which is basically a watchdog for anti-Semitism, saying, look, this was an awkward gesture. In fact, they say all sides should give one another a bit of grace and take a breath. But what do you make of it? Is it a bit of a Rorschach test here? You see what you want to see?
The problem with it is it comes from Elon Musk, who has been openly celebrating the AfD in Germany, which is a proper far-right party.
But he's also visited Israel and kibbutzes that have been attacked.
Yeah,
by
but if you
Hamas.
look at the way far-right politics in in Europe especially works, support for Israel doesn't preclude that, right? Because a lot of the far-right politics has been directed at refugees, particularly from the Middle East, right? So the politics is really weird. I will admit, I went in there looking, because there's so many beat-ups that surround Trump. Right?
Yes.
And I went into it thinking, I'm ready for this to be a beat-up, and I watched it, and it braced me. Because I just could not... I think he knew exactly what he was doing, and that doesn't mean he meant it as a fascist salute, but I think he meant for us to see it potentially.
Well, he
that
hasn't
way,
commented.
and
He hasn't commented, but he has shared a post on his platform X saying, the everyone is Hitler attack is so tired. Frankly, they just need better dirty tricks.
It's not worth the risk. Never put your arms above you. You know, it's just not worth it.
You know what everyone needs for the next 4 years? Melania's hat.
Oh,
I've seen nothing. I've seen nothing.
Of